Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. We've got a fascinating topic lined up today that really gets to the heart of modern software security.
Oh man, Jenny, I'm practically buzzing about this one. Protean Labs just rolled out something that I think could genuinely shift how a lot of companies approach their cybersecurity. It's a big deal.
They've launched a new software composition analysis, an SCA tool, right? And the big promise is value within minutes. Mark, is that even plausible in the world of vulnerability scanning, with all its complexities?
That's exactly it. And you hit on the right word, plausible. Because traditionally, SCA tools take weeks to set up, configure, and integrate. They're often clunky, complex, and let's be honest, kind of a pain for developers. But Protean Labs is saying minutes. And their founder, John Robert, he said he was tired of watching great teams struggle with bad tooling. That, to me, speaks volumes, really resonates.
That's a sentiment I think a lot of development teams can relate to. So they're focused on DevSecOps teams, trying to make it affordable and simple. What does that actually mean for the everyday developer trying to push out code? Is it just wishful thinking?
It means less friction, Jenny. Think about it. If security is a huge, imposing hurdle, developers find ways around it, or they push it to the very end of the cycle. We'll fix it later. But if it's baked in, if it's fast and easy, if it detects those common vulnerabilities and exposures, the CVEs, in third-party code, before times they become a problem, then it becomes a natural part of the workflow. And the fact that they have a free tier? That's huge.
Right, that's big. Democratizing security for startups and smaller teams who might otherwise be priced out. So Mark, unpack this a little for us. Why do complex security tools often fail developers? And how does this focus on simplicity actually make an organization safer, not just happier?
Well, John Roberts' quote hits the nail on the head. Developers are measured on shipping features, on velocity. If a security tool slows them down, if it requires a week-long training course and constant babysitting, which, let's be real, many do, it's seen as an obstacle, not an enabler. Simplicity means faster adoption. It means developers don't dread running scans. When security is easy to integrate into the CI/CD pipeline, it gets used. And when it gets used early and often, you catch issues earlier. When they're much cheaper and easier to fix. It's common sense, really.
So it's about shifting security, left, as they say, earlier in the development lifecycle. But for a lot of our listeners, the question remains, can a tool truly deliver real value in minutes? Or is some of this just clever marketing? I mean, are we talking times actual times comprehensive security, or just a quick initial check?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's a fair one. What value means can be subjective. For Protean Labs, value within minutes likely means you can download it, point it at your repository, and get an initial report on vulnerable open source packages almost immediately. It might not be the exhaustive, deep dive analysis you'd get from an enterprise solution costing a fortune, but for rapid initial detection of glaring CVEs, that quick win is real value. It alerts you before a cybersecurity incident can happen, which is huge. But it's important to understand the scope too, right? It's a starting point, not necessarily the finish line.
That's an important distinction. It sounds like a great starting point, especially for teams who might not have had any SCA in place before, or for smaller outfits. But this brings us to our next topic, the invisible threat of open source vulnerabilities. Mark, 70 to 90% of modern codebases rely on open source components. That's a massive attack surface, isn't it? It's like building a house with bricks you didn't personally inspect.
It's enormous, Jenny. Think of it like this. Every time you add an open source library, you're inheriting not just its functionality, but also all of its dependencies, and times dependencies. It's a chain. And a vulnerability anywhere in that chain can expose your entire application. And Protean Labs is specifically designed to scan those third-party dependencies and detect vulnerable packages. It's targeting the very source of what makes modern software so efficient, but also so vulnerable.
And we've seen the impact of this. I mean, the whole Log4j chaos just a few years ago proved one vulnerable component can cripple millions of systems globally. So this isn't just scanning, it's practically disaster prevention, isn't it? It's preventing the next digital pandemic.
Absolutely. That Log4j incident, it was a stark wake-up call to the industry. It truly highlighted how a single, ubiquitous open source component could create such a widespread, critical vulnerability. And it showed how supply chain attacks are no longer theoretical. They're happening frequently. Protean Labs is directly addressing that by helping developers catch these kinds of issues proactively, integrating that security check right into the coding process. It's about being on the front foot.
And when you combine that with statistics like cybercrime being up 600% since the COVID-19 pandemic, the urgency for proactive solutions like this becomes really clear. Open source dependencies are like blind spots. How do we even begin to fix what we can't see, or what we don't even know we're using?
Well, you start by making those blind spots visible. That's what SCA tools do. They create a software bill of materials, an SBOM, so you know exactly what open source components you're using. Then they cross-reference that with known vulnerability databases like CVEs. Trying to do that manually for every dependency, across every project, across every update, it's impossible. Automation is the only sensible way.
So is scanning enough? Or does the broader open source ecosystem need deeper reforms to truly secure these foundational components? Because if the problem isn't fixed at the source, with better funding for maintainers or more robust community governance, it feels like we're just playing whack-a-mole, perpetually reacting.
That's a very fair point, Jenny. SCA tools are essential. They give us visibility. But you're right, they don't fix the underlying issue of underfunded or under-maintained open source projects. There's a big discussion happening right now about how organizations that heavily rely on open source should contribute back, either financially or through code. It needs to be a community effort, otherwise, as you said, it's just whack-a-mole forever. The Open Source Security Foundation, for example, is doing great work on this. But in the meantime, tools like Protean Labs give developers the visibility and alerts they need, times right now, to protect their applications.
That gives us a lot to think about. Moving on to our final topic, let's talk about where Protean Labs calls home. Raleigh, North Carolina. The Research Triangle region is a genuine cybersecurity boomtown, Mark. How does being in this specific tech corridor give Protean Labs a particular edge? Is it just the southern charm, or something more strategic?
Oh, it's a massive advantage, Jenny. We're talking about an area that hosts an NSA lab, over 15 specialized cybersecurity degree programs, and major players like Sysdig and Zscaler. LexisNexis, for instance, grew their innovation center at NC State from 150 to nearly 800 employees, hiring over 50 NCSU grads in 3 years just by partnering with the university. That's a direct, almost built-in pipeline of talent and innovation. It's not just about proximity, it's true synergy.
That's an incredible success story. So this isn't just about fancy buildings and tech parks, it's about a deep, established ecosystem. Can academic partnerships like that truly compete with the funding-heavy, sometimes hype-driven model we often see in Silicon Valley, especially for a startup like Protean Labs when they're vying for critical talent and investment?
It absolutely can, in its own way. Silicon Valley has the sheer volume of VC money, yes, but the Research Triangle offers something different. Deeply integrated academic-industrial partnerships, a lower cost of living, which is a huge draw for talent, and a strong sense of community. That kind of environment fosters sustained innovation, not just rapid-fire funding rounds and quick exits. It means access to cutting-edge research, a steady stream of highly educated graduates ready to get to work, and a collaborative spirit that can be hard to find elsewhere. It's a different kind of horsepower, if that makes sense.
And the numbers back that up, too. There are almost 180 open cybersecurity jobs in Raleigh right now, with nearly 100 of those being entry-level. That's proof of incredible regional demand and a robust talent pool that Protean Labs can tap into, right from their doorstep. It really does sound like a unique advantage.
Exactly. It means they can hire engineers who are not only skilled, but also deeply embedded in the latest cybersecurity thinking from these university programs. Imagine students spotting new threats in a class project, then interning at Protean Labs the next semester, helping to build solutions. That kind of talent pipeline turns academic theory directly into practical, real-world armor for software. It's a win-win.
That's a powerful synergy. So to wrap things up, Protean Labs seems to have identified a key pain point in the market, the complexity and slowness of traditional security tools, and is trying to solve it with simplicity and speed. And they're doing it from a region that provides a lot of strategic advantages for cybersecurity innovation.
I think they're onto something big. If they can truly deliver on that, value within minutes, promise, and make security more approachable for developers, thereby baking it into the workflow naturally, That's a win for everyone. It means more secure software, fewer vulnerabilities, and ultimately, a safer digital world. I'm genuinely excited to see how they evolve, and if this model takes hold across the industry.
Me too, Mark. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful innovations aren't necessarily the most complex, but the ones that make critical processes accessible and user-friendly, bridging the gap between security and development teams. Thanks for breaking all that down for us today, offering your usual blend of insight and skepticism.
My pleasure, Jenny. Always a blast talking tech and security with you. And, keeping the industry honest.
And thanks to all of you for listening. We'll catch you next time.